Hello, everybody, and welcome to my studio. It is me, Gideon, also known as Gideon's Light, and I'm your creatively fit coach, right? Alrighty, then let's get into this week's session as we get inspired by the word glow or glowing. Glow? So there are so many elements that glow. So let's see what inspire you this week in your art journal to represent glow. And speaking of which, because I'm going to be painting a candle, let's light a candle of hope for our beautiful world and just send some loving kindness out into the world. My prayer today is that everyone be free from danger. Let everyone be happy and healthy and live with grace and ease. That is my wish for everyone today. So if you're watching today, I hope that you are surrounded by that grace. And yes, let's get into glowing. We're going to glow today. So I've got here today just the image of the internet. It's really not mine, but I'm just going to use it to inspire me because it is a beautiful fat glowing candle, and this beautiful flame that is casting light out here is really just so inspirational. So I borrowed my husband's phone today, so I'm just going to place it here for myself without burning myself on my flame of hope. And what I've got here is my art journal is prepped already. I've again painted it black, matte black in the background with this chivalry acrylic black, which is definitely very matte. But I do want to work on this smaller piece of paper. Now, I wanted to give you guys a tip in general. If you're going to mask around your paper and you don't like it if the paint seeps through when you pull the masking tape off, because that can happen, especially on canvas, then my tip for you today is to use your acrylic medium, which is see-through. And then, after you've placed your masking tape, you paint a layer of that see-through glaze, acrylic glaze, and let it dry. And then when you paint over it, it's impossible for the paint to seep behind your masking tape. So we'll test that theory today, because that is exactly how I prepared this Bristol paper today. I just grabbed it, it was close at hand. So I'm thinking that I want to paint this entire background with orange, seeing that we are all gonna, get into the glow today. And this particular reference material of mine is very orange based. So it's going to make my life very easy if I already paint this piece of background. Welcome to my world. This papers, I'm going to paint it this orange from Montmartre. I was looking at the tub just to see if it didn't have a very particular name like cadmium orange, which this probably is, but they've just decided to just call it orange. Now I did put way too much paint on here. I'm so used to the paper being thirsty, and I thought today I want to try this sealing technique, and I want to paint the background orange. Then as we work with the darker colors over this will shine through, and hopefully today it will add to our glowing background. So that is what I'm going to be doing. So I'm again going to try and keep this very short and simple for you guys, but I think there's too much paint on there. So let me grab another brush. I'm going to just use a dry brush here and just blend this beautiful orange paint a little bit more. into my paper. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video because I'm sure you don't want to listen to my hairdryer session. I'm just going to blast it with my hairdryer and get this dry, and then we'll get into drawing the simple shape and let's get painting. So I'll be right back. Right, my paper is dry, and this is a good example. Now again, if you're new to acrylic painting, everything works in layers. So this should make your life a lot easier when you realize that you can dry a layer underneath with a hairdryer or just give it a few minutes to dry. Acrylic paint does dry fast. But then you have a secure layer that if I make a mistake on this now, I can always rub it off. So everything is built up in those beautiful layers. Alrighty then. Now, my candle is going to be a little bit higher than the middle of the page, and it's nice and rounded on the edges. You can see that it's burnt a bit in the past, and I'm not going to stress too much about making a very dead straight line. I can just represent it abstractly. Okay, and it's going to go all the way to the edge. So now I want to just place our beautiful flame, which will be round about there. And then I just want to sort of look at this balayage effect of the light that is flowing through or glowing through the candle wax. And it has a little bit of a depth, almost like a reverse light round about there. So our glow area is round about there. Today, please forgive me, is one of those dyslexic days where my tongue and my brain does not cooperate. So what I'm thinking and what I'm saying sometimes is two different things, and I might use weird words or not finish a sentence completely because my mind already did. So please forgive me. That's the nature of dyslexia that I deal with, and sometimes it's worse on some days than on other days. So it's just the way the cookie crumbles. Anyway, this rounding on the candle is a little bit more pronounced, and this angle comes down a little bit there. So I'm not worried about these lines because we're going to be painting over it anyway. Okay, so I think we've got a good representation here. The flame is maybe a bit flat, but you know what? Not flat, fat. See what I mean? Oh my goodness. Anyway, let's put that aside. Let's run through our colors that I've got here, starting with obviously the black. And I'm going to use the Chivalry black simply because it's the only black that I've got that is completely matte. So it will dry on me a little bit faster because it's just like craft paint, but if I can get it out, there we go. So I'm gonna just dispense a little bit for now and make that stand on its head. Okay, then I've got here a cadmium red deep hue. So that's much darker than the ordinary cad yellow. Oh, cad red. I did warn you guys, today is going to be a glowing day for my terminology. Okay, so let's use that depth that we've got there with cad red deep. There we go. I got it out. Okay. And then I've got the ordinary cadmium red hue, which you will see is a bit brighter. There we go. Then the cad red deep. Shoo, it's very complicated. I hope you guys can see my homemade palette here. I really need to get some palettes, and the best part is I went to the art supply store today. I was actually in the store. I mean, really, I was looking for other things and I didn't think about the things that's finished. So anyway, here's my cad orange. And then I've got a medium yellow or a cadmium yellow, all these cads. But you know what? Cads are very vibrant and opaque, and they give you a very nice cover, and they stand out more because they reflect more light. That's how I understand it. And then I've got here a pale yellow or a lemon yellow, which is lighter than the cad yellow. You will see it when I put them next to each other. So that's going to help me, especially when you get to the flame. Alrighty then, let me just clean my palette knife. Alrighty then. Then, last but not least, titanium white. And we're definitely going to need this to paint the lightest area, which is obviously the flame. Okay. So I think that's sort of the colors that I will be using today. And we're going to be seeing how white can help me create lighter tints and how black can help me create deeper shades of color that we will need for this painting. I'm going to sort of opt for my angle brush. This one is a number 10, but you can see here on the dollops and on my hand, it's about, you know, my nail size. So it's not too big, but I think it will fit into all of these little zones that I need to paint. Okay, so let us begin with the candle. If not, why not? So I'm going to start here at the top with this pale yellow, and we're just going to be blocking in our colors now, just to sort of get our colors to where we want them to be. I'm just loading my brush, and here the angle brush is giving me the opportunity and supports me to just place my color. When I need a straight edge, I have one. Okay, so here you'll be able to see that the pale yellow is quite transparent, and we'll probably do a few layers before I'll be happy with it. Switching down into our deeper yellow, and this beautiful orange in the background is going to give a glow to all of my colors, which is the main sort of focus today. And I'm not even rinsing off because all of these colors needs to balayage into each other. And this is the lighter orange. I'm saying it like I've got a deeper orange. I do think the one that I used in the background is actually a bit darker. Yes, it is. So this would be a little bit more towards like the cad orange deep. It's definitely more vibrant, so let's use that as well. Clean my palette knife. Awesomeness. Okay, so let's use some of that. And I'm just playing balayage, and balayage is really just a way to blend your colors. I'm going to go into the cad red, and that's very strong. I'm just working it up a little bit. Everything is looking rather orange for now, but that's okay. Let's give this little thingy a dip there and go into the cad red deep. I'm just going to rub off the other paint on my brush. Now I'm going to use my black here and bring some of this deep red to it. The candle is our darkest sort of object and area in our painting. So let's get this in. Okay. It's okay if everything doesn't blend right now. Don't panic. I mean, does it look like I'm panicking? And down here at the bottom, I'm going to switch to the pure black. And again, I'm using this particular black today because I know that it dries with a matte finish. And I need that. I think it's going to add to the power of the glow when you have a bit of contrast between matte and shiny. Okay, so we've got a basic blocking. I'm not going to rinse out because I think while I've got black on my paintbrush, let's mix this dark reddish glow background, and I think we're going to need a lot of red for that. And it looks rather maroonish to me, so I think I'm going to add a little bit of this orange to it as well. Yes, to make it a little bit more brown. Okay, now what I'm going to do to make my life a little bit easier now is I'm just going to use my water mister, if it will work. There we go. And I just want to use this brush. Now I could switch to a bigger brush, but here we go. I'm going to just work this darker color into the background in a very painterly kind of fashion. And I'm just going to work around the candle and the flame, leaving that zone for the glow, which is our theme for the day. And I'm paying attention to my reference material as well. Now, again, you can do this in whichever way you want to do it in your art journal. So if you want to use this picture, then just look at Google and ask for glowing candle and it should come up. Like I say, I don't have a license for this at all. I'm just using it as inspiration. But find your own inspiration. Find what sparks joy and inspiration for you and paint that. So this will go a little bit darker to the bottom. So I'm bringing in a little bit more black. Oh, that's a lot of black. Oh, the joy sometimes of, picking the wrong color. It needs to be able to have a bit of contrast to stand, allow the candle to stand out. Okie dokie. So painting on the acrylic medium, has sort of two advantages here. In number one is the color glides on much easier, and number two, it doesn't dry so quickly, so it gives me a little bit of chance. And because I did spray it a little bit, so I'm going to put that down. I'm going to grab this mop brush of mine, which is a fabulous round goat mop, and I'm just going to very lightly just gloss over it. Now it's making little scratch marks here because my brush, naughty me, is not completely clean, so there's some paint that dried on it that's now a little bit harder, and it's now scratching into my paint. I'm gonna lightly go over that. Oh, my hand. It's quite a workout. Okay, it's giving it an interesting texture. I'll definitely need to wash that, so I'm gonna let it sit there in the water. Okay, so we've got a good foundation here. Let's start to play with our candle flame, and I think I'm gonna use this round brush if I can get it. That one's so big. Let me go for this one. Okay. So let's not start with a pure white yet. Let's take our titanium white and mix it with pale yellow, just to block it in and to give it a bit of background. Otherwise, if you immediately go for your pure white, then when you need your pure white, it's going to not show up. You can't go lighter than pure white. So leave your pure white for the very, very end, so that you have a little bit of, time and layers to play with. And that will give a little bit of contrast and a powerful, powerful punch to your flame. Alrighty. I like that. Okay. Let's rinse that brush out. I'm gonna really try to speed paint here. Let me sip some of my tea. Yum. Okay. I'm gonna... Is this too big? Maybe. I'm gonna use this round brush, which is the bigger one. And again, I'm gonna start here with my pale yellow. And I'm gonna bring in a little bit of my titanium white because I want to mix a lighter shade, a little bit more opaque. And I'm going to start this whole process again on my candle. And I need this very top part that is sort of receiving the most light to just stand out a little bit more. And immediately switch down to the deeper yellow. And while that is wet, work that into each other. Beautiful. Getting straight down into this. Oh, I should have used a lighter orange. That's okay. There's so much orange on this canvas already. Let's use this orange mixture to just balayage down. And for me, as a hairstylist, balayage just means a gradient. So forgive me for newcomers that's like, what the hell is balayage? So it's just a method of blending one color into a previous color or going from light to dark. I wrapped my brush here on a tissue because I want to just get back into this deeper yellow because I felt that the orange was too strong there. Here we go. That feels correct. Okay. Dip the toe of your brush into the red because it's again very powerful. Your CADs are potent. Okay, that feels nice. Now I need to dispense a bit more of the deep red because I used it all for the background. Oh, I hate little knobs, lids. They're always sort of dry on the brush and it's quite hard to get them open. Okay, I haven't rinsed my brush yet. I'm using all of these shades. I'm just rolling the toe of my brush into that deeper red as we go down. It's okay if you make a oopsie. We're gonna do another round there on the background. Well, now I have to, now that I scratched it off. Okay, a little bit more of that red. Coming from both sides. And I'm working very horizontal with my brush marks because it's like the layers of the candle. Okay, let's pick some of this. I need to just dip the toe of my brush in water to improve the fluidity of my paint. Okay, let's get into this black, red color. Maybe a bit more water. A bit more red. Okay, now. Oh, that's very dark. Okay, so if you see that your color is too dark, just adjust. Let's add a bit more of the reds in there. I'm using again all my red. Oh, well, you know, this is the joy of painting. That feels better. Go all the way to the edge. And let's paint this glowing dip. I'm going to now rub off most of the paint on my brush. So I just want a little bit left to gently blend upwards without going too high. That feels nice. Now we can go into a stronger mixture. Again, working from the edge. Listen, don't panic if you go out of your lines. It really is not the end of the world. I'm struggling with this area that's supposed to glow down here a little bit. Now the only problem with my beautiful matte black craft paint is I can feel it's not the same quality as the rest of my paints. Now I want to just expand my candle here a little bit. It felt a little bit too much like a funnel. Here we go. So here's the thing about acrylic paint that a lot of people don't realize. When they look at this paint, or maybe somebody painting, they think it works like oil, like you've got an infinite time for it to dry, and you can mix and mix or blend and blend and blend until the cows come home. And then when they actually paint with it, they go, oh my word, it's sticky, it's chalky, it's not doing what I wanted to do, and it's making lines and all kinds of funny things. Now that's very normal, and the beauty of acrylic paint is locked up in its layers. And you would think that acrylic paint is so opaque that bottom layers doesn't show up, but it does show up because everything is not opaque. You'll be surprised to learn how many colors in your acrylic arsenal is actually translucent or have a transparency to it. So working in layers is definitely beneficial, and trust me, even in minute amounts, the bottom layers always do shine through, and it gives a richness to your painting, which is quite surprising once you get into it. I'm just rinsing my brush really well because my candle needs to dry. So before I can do another run through, let's see, maybe this is my smaller round brush. Just want to blend that down a little bit while it's still wet. I'm pressing very, very lightly. Okay, that feels great. Look how much paint comes off that I've now blended, just to show you. You can see it on the brush as well. Okay, I'm going to let that soak. I personally think now is a good time to dry this with a hairdryer and really, really let this layer be dry. And then we can do another, or let me rather say, I'm going to do another run over with exactly the same colors. I don't want to bore you to tears with layer after layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do this background color again and just fix some boo-boos that I've got there, and just see if I'm happy with my candle. And then when we come back, I'll show you how I'm going to add the flame, and we're going to do the glow, which is the whole focus of today, and see if that will do the trick for us, So I'll be back when I've done my background in exactly the same method that I've done it now, and I've fixed some of my oopsies, and by just adding another layer. So I don't want you to think that I'm doing some magic here in the background. Everything that I've done now, just repeat, because I think another layer will add some depth to our painting. So I'll see you guys now. I'm back. Right, so I just gave a very soft glaze again on the background, just to fix those oopsies so that we have a secure background. And I also realized I needed to just lower my sort of red area in my candle. Otherwise, my candle looks like a black candle. Is that so bad? I don't think so. Anyway, this is one of those really big candles in a very dark room. So you won't really see that it's a white candle or whatever candle this is. Maybe it's a candle made of beeswax, and that will also be much darker, or it's a dark yellow candle. Who knows? Let's not speculate too much about the true color of this candle. Let's focus on the glow. Alrighty then, so I cleaned my brushes. So I think what we need to do is let's work on the glow around the candle. And what I'm going to use for my glow around the candle is some of my oranges and maybe a little bit of my yellow. So I'm going to use my round goat mop brush here, and I just want to work off most of the color, and I'm just going to sort of go for a little soft blend diffuse of my color here. And it's okay if I touch my flame because it's dry, and to let my glow sort of go outside of that perimeter very softly. I like that. It's got a weird glow, but it's glowing. Okay, enough of that. Let me use another brush because I want to just deepen some of the color that I want around the flame. And for that I need a little bit of my red here, adding a bit of my water because it dried on me. And let's go a little bit closer to the flame. And here I'm just using another round brush, and I'm using it quite flatly just to show you that you can use any brush. You don't have to have a round goat mop brush in order to blend. It just makes life a lot easier. And also I've just turned my whole canvas around because it's easier for me to come in from the side. Alrighty then. Just wanted a little bit more of that color there, because you need to sort of build on it, you know. Let's go lighter around it now with a little bit of the lighter orange. And I'm gonna basically do the same. And the closer I get to my flame, because we'll paint over it again, the lighter the glow will get. Oh, I'm working so nicely over my candle there. It's okay to go over the flame, but not the candle. Oh, my soul. Okay. Now I need a little bit of the yellow. So let me just tap some of this yellow around the flame. And I'm going to come back in with my blendy brush. and just sort of work that out and soften it. So I'll add a bit more of the yellow. It sort of went green on me there because black and yellow makes green, like a greeny olivey color. So that's why that sort of shines out as a green glow. Now my pet peeve about mop brushes is that sometimes the hairs can break and stick to the paint. That's very annoying, but it's best to remove it as soon as possible. Okay, let's rinse, because I want to now use the lighter yellow tightly against the flame. And again, just blend it out a little bit. It's all about the diffusing of the light here. I think that's nice. Alrighty then. Now let me just bring some of my yellow that I lost at the top of my candle, and I'm using my lightest pale yellow here, and let's just strengthen the glow into the candle a little bit more as well. So I'm using almost like a dry brush, like a glazing technique here. Alrighty then. So now that we've got that beautiful flame there, I'm gonna get into my titanium white again and load it on my brush and bring in some of the pale yellow, and let's just work on this actual flame again. And you'll notice that the flame sort of almost burns brightest closer to the wick and at the top of the flame. Oh, I closed my reference material. You know, this is not my phone. Now to find it on my husband's very complicated phone is rather challenging. Ah, found it. Gallery. Working on somebody else's phone is complicated, even if it's the same device that you're using. Okay, let's get a little bit more white, pure white into this number. That feels nice. Okay, here you can see too much white is almost like unnatural with the amount of glow that we have. So I'm back into the pale yellow, and I'm going to use that to just soften, especially like the middle zone of my flame, and maybe a little bit of the cad yellow on the sides of the flame. It just gives it a little bit of life, I think. I'm gonna rinse that off, and let's switch to a finer brush and just activate it with clean water. Hey, I'm quite happy with that, to be honest with you. But I think we can improve on the glow on the candle a little bit. Let's get back into the pale yellow with a bit of titanium white and just strengthen this top glow bit. Yes. Just gently, I'm gonna just work this down a little bit. Switching to the deeper yellow. Just rolling my brush. I didn't rinse yet. Don't want a lot. Wiping off, bringing some of the deeper yellow. My paint is tacky. I'm just rinsing off, but not entirely. Just want to wet this a little bit to improve my blendability. And let's get into the light orange. And because everything else is dry, if you go over your line, you can just wipe it off. And sometimes your finger is your best tool in this case. Okie dokie, I'm quite happy with that. I think I can fiddle with the glow for hours until it's absolutely perfection. But for now, I think that is good enough. So we have used our prompt today of glowing, and that led me to find an image of a candle because that was the most obvious glow, and I must say I was in the mood to paint a glowing candle. And I mean, you can also paint a bulb, you can put a candle in a lamp or paint a lamp or a neon sign, anything that's glowing that fancies you. And there you have it. I tore this out and I stuck it into my art journal, and it just gave me a beautiful clean edge to look at. Now I wanted to just show you how clean this edge is where I have done the acrylic medium before I started painting over my masking tape, and that just gives me such a clean edge compared to this side where I didn't. This is sort of what happens with masking tape. It can give you this sort of edge where it looks like the paint has seeped through. So just as a contrast, this painting that we did today with a candle, it really just looks so much more crisper and cleaner and more professional because I've prepared the paper and when you lift the tape off afterwards, you have these beautiful clean edges. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, remember to hit that subscribe button, and I do this every week. So hopefully this week's prompt of glowing inspired you to just go and paint or create something that is glowing. Remember to take a photograph and to share it with me, and I'll see you guys again next week for another episode of The Creative Heart. Bye bye for now.